only by owning yourselves deeply that this sort of like delicious third element that is magical comes to life between the both of you. Our brains might be like, yeah, they're not good, but our systems are like, I don't care. Give it to me.
Oh my God.
Having a quiet mind that's not at war with itself.
At what point do you go like, I need another partner? Or do you try and change them?
But you must build up the reason why you two are together in the first place.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Ana,
So
we're going to start
funny.
the show right now. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
I'm going to do a shout out in a second, but literally we were talking so much that we were like, oh my gosh, we have to start.
I know, we forgot.
Oh, I want to do a shout out to all the people who are having like their hearts are just a little heavy or a little bit like overwhelmed. I just want to put a shout out to all of you, and say that I see you and I love you, and you know this conversation is for you, and
Awesome.
that's it.
Let's do a shout out to the overwhelmed world. Here we go. Hey, today, guys, I tell you this every time. I am like so excited and amazed to have the best guest ever on the show. Today, we have Ana Del Castillo. Ana is a Rightness Expert and a certified coach and works with people who have it all but consistently feel like there's something wrong or worse. They feel dead and unsatisfied in their amazing lives. So she helps people own their inherent passion and rightness so they feel vital and alive again. And I want to talk to her for the next 2 or 3 hours, but we're going to start with what we got. Hello, Ana. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. We were just talking before, and I was saying about how there's this sort of like, you know, that feeling where your heart is really gushy and gooey, and you could feel everything, the joy and the sorrow and everything. So I feel full and big and rich.
You know, the funny thing is we started talking, like we met in the green room, and then we met here just before the show, and we kept talking. I know there was at least 20 minutes before the show was going to start, and then um, we just whirled into it because it was like awesome what we were saying. So let's talk about rightness. Talk about rightness expert and what do you do with
Yeah.
rightness?
What the hell does rightness mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? Self-righteous. Everybody's self-righteous. No, it's not self-righteousness. Rightness is the shortest thing I could say about it is having a quiet mind that's not at war with itself. You know how you wake up in the morning and you're off to the races of like, oh God, I didn't fucking do. Is it okay if I curse, by the way?
We'll keep it PG-13.
Okay, great.
We'll do that.
I won't curse. God, I can't believe that I didn't do this. Gosh, I'm such a jerk. I'm such a this. I'm so like you're in your head telling yourself how bad and wrong you are, or how bad and wrong someone else is, and how your life is bad and wrong. There's just like a running commentary. So I'm a rightness expert in that I turn brains that are geared towards wrongness, making you know ourselves wrong or making the world wrong and making their life wrong, and being on the hedonic treadmill of life where it doesn't matter what you do, it's never ever enough, and turning it into a place where there's like actual real peace and quiet and everything is good. Like you're in the same life, but somehow everything is turned good and right.
Do you
And
work with men, women? Do you work with
I
both?
work with
Right.
men and women, but my honey spot is women.
Okay. And then what do you teach? How do you teach these women to become themselves? I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, become fully authentically like who they are expressed. Well, I mean, you know, there's a way in which there's all kinds of exercises that we do, but for the most part, there's inside of all of those exercises is a uncovering of the very place inside that made up, oh, there's something wrong.
Okay.
That got convinced that there was something wrong, and that everything after that has been evidence to prove that. And so we unwind until we get to that spot. And then literally it's an uncovering and then owning who you are. And now that you actually know what that thing is, it's now uncovering and owning who you are in each of those relationships, conversations, situations, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, do most of those things come from you find previous relationships or with family or friends, where do they usually come
I
from? What
mean, it
happens?
really depends. For the most part, a lot of them, like all of us, even if you've had a great childhood, at some point we made up in our minds because we as children we all feel at some age like the world revolves around us, and I want to make sure that I don't get something suddenly doesn't just like turn the computer off. Um, at some point we make a decision from a child's perspective. It's my fault, and it's unconscious, and then at that point you start to cull evidence. But it doesn't have to be in your childhood. You could then have been in a relationship, and we were talking about this at one point. You could be in a relationship, and these are really like very, very powerful relationships where you're with someone who has their relationship is set up as intermittent reward systems.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is they're really great to you, especially in the beginning. Oh my gosh, they're like the dream come true, either the prince or the princess, and they're just like it's love like you've never had. It's like being seen like you've never had. You've never had this kind of love or feeling before in your life, and it is like a dream come true.
I'm still looking for that person, by the way.
And then what ends up happening is that like it's so, and then little by little it's like those kinds of relationships are marked by like, and then all of a sudden one day they're in a like it's the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And then more and more that relationship, the highs become less, and the lows, the ones that are like cruel and you don't understand, become more. And those kinds of intermittent reward systems are very addictive, and they change your brain chemistry, and they do all kinds of things. And then you're addicted to the human, and then you're effed up.
Yeah. I've asked you before, like, why is it that so many people want their ex back? I had this conversation this morning with my team, right? And like, why do you want your ex back? And like, you had the best explanation for this that I have heard from somebody, calling them a nutrient that they served up to you. Like,
Yes. If you didn't get seen when you were younger, if you didn't have one particular part of yourself seen, if you had to be something else when you were growing up, and then someone actually sees you in that spot, that is a nutrient. That is like, you can be super healthy, but if your vitamin D is off, it'll throw off the whole entire system. Or if your vitamin, whatever it is like throws off the whole entire system. So if that nutrient is missing, you will literally go through like your system will just, and then when you get it, it's like you're starving and you're just like sucking on the bone marrow. Do you know?
yeah, yeah. But I mean, that's what I'm not understanding. There's like 8 billion people on the planet, right?
I know.
And there's got to be more than one person who has that one nutrient, isn't there?
There absolutely. And anything we make, it goes even deeper than that. Anything that we make God that isn't God, right, becomes our downfall. So the person who gave us that nutrient becomes our God that we pray to. It's the altar. Oh my God, they're the only person, and the way they did it and how it was, and we're very pleasure principle, like we're driven by that.
Yeah.
And so our brains might be like, yeah, they're not good, but our systems are like, I don't care. Give it to me.
Oh
Ah.
my God. So
No?
how do you get rid of it? I mean, like it's there. You love it and it's like, I want more of it, but you don't go out and find it from somebody else. Why is that? I mean,
I mean, we are immediate gratification people.
okay.
We, I don't, there's no guarantee that we're going to get that thing in the next person or the next 20 people, or maybe we need it in ourselves. What
Yeah.
I have found when I work with people, certainly when I work with myself, is that the solution is I mean, I hate this answer. I legitimately hate this answer because it's just like blah, 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 blah. But if I'm there are things, nutrients that like once I find it in here, I have to then find it somewhere else. And sometimes you do find it in other people, but you can't have it depend on other people. You actually have to then build it up inside yourself. Like you always have to come back here
Yeah.
and build that up. And so the answer, the annoying answer is the solution is literally dealing with the golem, precious, precious part of ourselves.
Right. That was good, by the way.
That's like, no, my ring.
Right?
Like it's like dealing with that part and then sort of growing ourselves up so that we can hold the deep desire for it and not like grab, but hold it and then hold out for the right person.
I know that everyone watching right now is going like, "Oh my God, she's saying exactly what I want to hear." I know that because I'm watching. I'm going like, "Okay, I want to know. It's what's the one thing?" And it's not just one thing, is it? It's like multiple things that you have to be
No,
able to do.
no. I wish it, listen, if I could give a magic pill. I mean, there are drugs, but that's not really it. You know what I mean? You're walking around like a zombie or you're whatever. But like if I could give you a magic pill that would take it all away, I would do it in a heartbeat, do you know? But the only solution that I've ever found, like do your own research.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that my answer is the way. I've just, in all the research that I've done over the decades and decades, when I've like on my own and also in the modalities I've trained and also working with like the thousands of people that I've worked with, the only thing that has ever worked genuinely has been addressing the addictive, grabby, let me sacrifice myself. I don't care. I'm desperate. Sacrifice all of the feelings for this one person or thing or job or whatever it is that is supposed to be the answer to your. Think about it. People who have won
Mhm.
the lottery, they thought that money was the problem. People who've won the lottery within a year, I think something like some
They're
ridiculous
broke.
number, like 90 something
Yeah.
percent go broke and their lives are worse. I
So
remember, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I think that's actually a really good analogy. And then, but there's people that also have money and they are prospering with it, right? So we
Yes.
have people that have these crummy relationships. And I know you work mostly with women, but you work with couples also.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a word that I love that you need to coin called coupledom.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And there's a hierarchy in that. And then I assume that in that hierarchy, people are either abusing part of the hierarchy or something's happening that's not working there. And you teach people how to get out of that? Or do you say, drop this, go on to something else? How do you make that work if it's a couple?
This is amazing. I love this question. Thank you for asking this question. I want to kiss you. Um, mwah. Um, Most people enter into relationships like they're the same thing that what we were talking about with the
Yeah.
you are now the drug that's going to make this bad feeling go away. And if you don't fit that agenda, and if you not don't act a certain way to make this feeling go away, then you are not doing your job. You're not actually a person. You are a reward system to me. And
Okay.
I like so, and I'm not saying disrespect. I'm not saying abuse. That's a whole other ball of wax, and you should actually reconsider whether you should even be in that relationship. I'm talking about just a regular person.
Yes.
Everybody's human, right? Everybody's got like days where they just don't feel like they're having a bad day, whatever. I'm talking about just regular relationships.
Okay.
If I go to, I'm going to take it out of the regular, human thing. Let's look at it from a different analogy here. If I go to an Italian restaurant, I love Italian food,
Yeah.
but you
It's
know
good
what?
stuff.
I feel like Thai food. I really feel like Thai food. So I start giving the chef who's in the Italian restaurant because I go to it all the time. I
Hmm.
go to this Italian, they know me. I go to the Italian restaurant and I go, "Can you please make me pasta with marinara sauce?" And they're like, "We're a Thai." I mean, can you make what's
Lasagna.
no, if I'm at an Italian restaurant and I want Thai food, right?
Oh,
So
pad
if I
thai.
go, yeah, pad Thai. Please make you pad Thai because it's noodles. You can just make me, just make. And so they try, but it's freaking an Italian restaurant. They can't make pad Thai. It sort of doesn't understand. They just use, basil as opposed to Thai basil. Like it doesn't taste right. So then I start giving them cookbooks. I start bringing in experts. I start trying to change this. And they're
Uh,
like, and then now I'm resentful. Why won't you give me Thai food? I've asked you for Thai food. What the hell is wrong with you? And then that's how we do relationships, as opposed to this restaurant is really great at Italian food. They're excellent at Italian food. If I want Thai food, I can go someplace and get something. I can be in partnership. This is a terrible analogy, by the way. I
No,
think
actually, it's not bad at all because I go out and eat all the time. So keep going.
so. Like, do you understand that? Like, there's a way in which we can be in partnership. My husband and I talk about being in partnership with your person as opposed to like a resentment waiting to happen. Michael, if I'm in a relationship with you and I'm like, I would really love for you to, I don't know, give me an example. Like, there's something that I'd love for you to talk some more. Like, you don't actually share enough.
Right.
If I go, Michael, you don't share enough. Like, what's wrong? I'm so frustrated. I'm here alone in this relationship, like, et cetera, et cetera. And then you're like, "Mm." And then I keep doing this. And then I made up some story about there's something wrong with you and you're broken. And then you got to go to therapy and you've got to take books and you've got to so and so because that doesn't mean that I'm not legitimately wanting more connection.
Now that's actually a good example because there are a lot of people that have relationships and their partner says, "You don't communicate to me enough. You don't tell me all the things I want to hear." What do you do? Do you stay in that relationship or do you let it go?
Yes. I mean, I'm in a relationship right now. My husband, who's a he's an intimacy, sex, and relationship expert. My husband is not someone who shares very much.
Okay. Okay.
I am effusive and I talk, and as you could tell, instead of me making him wrong, I learn his language. He's communicating all the time. He just communicates differently than I do.
Okay.
And so I literally, it's like he's a computer and I'm hacking the computer. And so I ask him all kinds of questions. Like, I just I literally walk to him and talk to him as though out of curiosity. Tell me who you are. Tell me what your childhood was like. Not to see what was wrong with you, but just, like, what was your sister like? What was this like? What was that like? I love that. What's a favorite thing? What's a way that I can I just literally ask him and listen.
It's interesting because, okay, that's good with listening because listening doesn't hurt anybody, right? But what happens when you go outside of that relationship to get, I don't know, anything else? When do you go? And I'm not just talking about sex, but let's say it's this person doesn't ever want to play board games with me, and I need board games, or this person doesn't want to go to the movies, but I want to go to the movies. Now, at some point, you go, I want to do all these things, but my partner doesn't. At what point do you go like, I need another partner, or do you try and change them?
I mean, we're talking about board games and tennis and movies.
Well,
That is not a
travel.
problem as much. Travel, it depends on the relationship. There's a reason why two people came together. My husband and I are of the belief that of the billions of people that are on the planet, two people who are in relationship chose one another. And that reason actually matters and is important. And so we explore from there and bring it very forward what that thing is. We illuminate that, go into that rather than focus on the things that are missing. And then you actually build that thing up. If the things that are needed are necessary, that's great. You can actually go outside and look for that, but you must build up the reason why you two are together in the first place. Like, actually illuminate that and bring that to the fore, because what ends up happening is that people forget that all the time.
Yes.
And then you break up and then you're looking for the like, you're in a cycle all the time, as opposed to not making any of it wrong. Like, I love this. I love this.
You know what's
And
interesting about what you're saying?
what?
I was sitting here thinking, it's like, it seems to me people should come see people like you, couples, people like you, before they get into a relationship to have these
Yes.
discussions, right?
Yes. Oh my God. And in fact, we have people who are single inside of our, we have a couples, a weekly couples thing that's, and we have people who are single who are in there who are like learning how to do relationships and learning how to do,
Hmm.
and they have incredible insight, not just with their significant other or their past significant others, but with their family and with the people who they work for, because it's translates to all relationships.
Yeah, I just think just even just listening to it, it's like, you know what? I'm not getting another girlfriend before I actually talk to Anna and see and go like, okay, these are the things we got to be talking about before we even get like into
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like third date or fourth date, you know?
Yeah. And the thing that I really love talking to men and women about, but especially women, is that there's a way in which women, you might not know this, but like there's a way in which women have been so deeply conditioned to forget themselves, sacrifice themselves. I mean, people put on the shiny version of themselves and then, slowly, but women really do that for a long time. And we're constantly trained to sacrifice ourselves for others. We are for others before we are for ourselves. And
Hmm.
Ken and I are of the like, we are committed to, no, you be yourself fully. Like, you be inside you own yourself deeply. And it's only by owning yourself deeply, for men too, only by owning yourselves deeply, that this sort of like delicious third element that is magical comes to life between the both of you. If you are both collapsed on one another, you sort of die and suffocate the relationship. But if you're two people who are constantly sort of like figuring out the middle ground by standing like tall, this sort of very sexy, very interesting dynamic starts to happen between two upright human beings that can't be accessed when one person is sacrificing or the other person is sacrificing or the other person is trying to get the other person to do, like, it just doesn't work that way.
That's an amazing relationship. I will say that I don't think in my life I've had that relationship. Like it's either someone leaning on me usually, or it's just not working. But what you said about having these two pillars and they're both supporting each other, right? That is a fabulous way of looking at how relationships should be,
Yeah.
you know?
And it doesn't mean that sometimes someone isn't like, and someone doesn't carry the load, but it's from two people who are like, all right, this is a conscious choice as opposed to unconscious pattern.
Yeah. I want people to come and find you. I want people to find you. I think the absolute best way is probably through your link tree.
Yes,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh, this
Um,
was this went really fast.
right? That's why I said I'm pretty sure that you and I could talk for like 2 or 3 or 4 hours. We could just let's do Michael right now and figure out like what's wrong with him.
There's nothing wrong. And then we'll discover that there's actually nothing wrong with you and that you get to be exactly who you are and get a lot of freedom. It's going to be amazing.
Awesome. Ana Del Castillo. This is the link tree, and I think that actually is the best place. But I follow you on TikTok, and I love your TikToks. I love it when you're. What are you usually lying on when you're on your TikToks? Are you lying on your bed or a
I'm
couch
lying
or
on my
something?
bed. Yeah, I'm lying on my bed.
Yeah, you've got your hair like flowing. It looks like all amazing, and I'm like, oh man, check this out. So yeah, but I'm gonna put this back up here as people uh, in their lunchtime or breakfast time if they're on the West Coast, and I want people totally to get in touch with you because you're amazing. So
Yes. I'm
thank you.
starting a class for women in 2 weeks. It's amazing. I'm really excited about it. It's with a whole bunch of experts, and also my husband and I do an ongoing couples thing. So come play.
Excellent. Thanks for being on, and
My
we'll
pleasure.
catch you on the flip side. Thank
Yeah.
you. I'm gonna keep watching you on TikTok.
Okay, great. Bye.
Bye.